Thank you, everybody, for being here and having this meeting. My name is Mickey. I'm a compulsive eater. I weigh and measure 3 meals a day from the gray sheet. I write them down. I call them into my sponsor. I don't eat between meals, no matter what. And abstinence is the most important thing in my life, without exception. My abstinence date is January 3rd of 2023. And Cheryl, thank you for asking me to speak. That was really nice. She messaged me on WhatsApp, and I'm in Denver right now visiting my daughter for the week. So it's perfect time. And so a little bit about what it was like and what happened and what it's like now for me. So as a small young child, I lived with my brother and my mother in northern Florida. And when you're little, you really don't know what's going on around you. I didn't know that I had a lot of alcoholism in my family. My mother was one. And she, what I distinctly remember, and I don't really have a lot of memories before I was 8, was that she would leave us alone at night, and my brother and I go out. And he was 6, I was 8. So, I would be trying to find food for us to eat, and, because there wasn't anybody to make us food. And the only time that it was okay like that was when my great grandmother would come to visit, because she would make us anything we wanted. And I also had grandparents who lived in Tallahassee, but I did not want to bother them. So, I started right out of the gate being codependent. And so we eventually were taken out of that situation, and went to live with my dad. And he had remarried to a woman who had 2 kids, and they had my half sister together. So there were 5 of his kids, and we had to move to South Florida because my dad was a biologist for U.S. Sugar Corporation. So we moved from what I loved as Tallahassee to some southern hick town, and where I grew up. And so I really I wasn't seeking food so much. I think I would have more so if I had access to it. But my stepmother was very rigid and very, she was raised on a farm. And so she was very traditional, and she believed in physical punishment and all kinds of things. It was just like blew my mind. I remember thinking that I was better off with our mother. So we weren't allowed to just go in the kitchen and get whatever we wanted to. It was only like meal times. And of course, we weren't like a real happy family. I didn't know it at the time. My dad was an active alcoholic, but he was functional. And so when they would go away out of town, like maybe to West Palm or something, I would look for things to eat that I thought they wouldn't miss. So I ate some weird stuff. And when I babysat, I would take food, when I was there, and I would try very hard to make sure nobody noticed. And, I'd never got caught doing that. And then that part of my life, say from 9 to graduation from high school, we all just drank and hung out, with boys and all kinds, that kind of stuff on the weekends. So that kind of took care of my need to feel like I belonged. And what was I going to say? I was a good student. I made good grades. I was supposed to make good grades, and that was a requirement, but we never talked about what I was going to do when I graduated. The idea was basically that we were all supposed to leave when we were 18. So my senior year, right before I graduated, I got pregnant. And so the theme of my life is called Seemed Like a Good Idea at the Time. And so I got married, and I had my first child at 18. And we had 2 more kids. And I ended up, when I was about 28, going to nursing school. And once I graduated, realized that I could take care of myself. The times were a little different. Like I think I made $12 an hour, but so I got divorced, and my ex-husband swore that he would take my kids away from me. And I thought he meant legal system, so I knew that's not going to happen. Well, that's not what he meant. It's called parental alienation, if you ever want to look it up. I have 3 adult children and some grandchildren. who are products of those relationships that I have no contact with, not because that's the way I want it, but that's how it is. And I also don't let people take advantage of me anymore. So I moved to California with my youngest daughter. She was 2, as a travel nurse. And out there, I got married 2 more times. And I will say that with each pregnancy I had, I gained a large amount of weight. But I would lose it because, I could get my hands on amphetamines. And back then, there were like diet doctors. So you could go and get like bags of pills. And I loved it. And, but, keeping it off, well, that was the problem. So when I got out to California, I met someone and I got married again. And I realized I was miserable, but I was so embarrassed to like just get divorced one more time. I started drinking more. And so I ended up drinking a lot. And I also, I developed a shoplifting habit. That happened starting in Florida when I was trying to keep up with my ex-husband and all the things that he was giving my kids. And also because I think I have a deep-seated feeling of deprivation and neglect. And so I was doing that, stealing alcohol and food that I couldn't afford, and everything else. And I got arrested in Pacifica in the Safeway. And wow, that was humiliating. I got to go to Redwood City and to jail. My now ex-husband bailed me out, found an attorney. She sent me to a therapist because she couldn't understand why someone like me was stealing things. And so I decided to get honest with my therapist just to say, hey, I drink this much. What do you think? She was like, yeah. So she sent me to AA. And from that Thursday night women's meeting in Half Moon Bay, I got I didn't get that sponsor yet. 3 months later, I did, but I never took another drink again. And this summer, I'll have 20 years of sobriety. And of course, that changed my life. I still have a lot of work to do on myself. And so at the time I got sober, I weighed 230 pounds. And I'm about 5'3" 3/4. And so all my life, I wanted to be thin and look like everybody else. And I just couldn't do it. And I'm kind of a grazer. Hadn't gotten to that full on like binge thing yet. I tried OA and I did not see people who had weight loss there. And I heard about the Gray Sheet food plan. But I was told you had to have a sponsor to do it. And I decided I'm so smart that I can get on the internet. I'm going to find the Gray Sheet. I'm going to do it by myself. And I have to tell you, I did not find it, but I found GreySheeters Anonymous. I got a sponsor and I started right away. And I lost 90 pounds. I don't know exactly how long I was abstinent. I want to say maybe up to 2 years. I don't know. So one of the kids that I was, just desperately trying to have a relationship with wanted to come out and live with me and my youngest daughter. So I said, yes, of course. And so she suggested, you don't really need to do that Gray Sheet thing anymore. You can just do Weight Watchers together. Once again, a great idea. And so that ended my abstinence because I cannot on my own eat like a normal person. I just can't. Like, I don't understand what it would be like to be eating something and be like, oh, I'm full, I don't want it anymore. So I got back up to like maybe 207. And right about that time, I had gotten married and divorced another time, by the way. So it was around 2013, I think. We moved back to Florida. My daughter wanted to be near our family. Another great idea. And so I came back to Gray Sheet and I got a sponsor who was very sweet, loved her, a lot of fun out in California. And at that time, it was still phone bridge and maybe a little bit of Skype. But I was allowed to text my food every day, text generic. I really didn't have any pressure to do anything else as far as working my program went. Just weighing and measuring, basically, and that was it. The easier, softer way, which doesn't work for me. Um, so I did lose the weight, and but then my son and his wife suggested, I lived in Wellington, Florida, which is near West Palm Beach, and my
And
thank you,
10 down, 5 left.
thank you. My son suggested that I should move in with them because we could all live together in their house and save money. And so, of course, I did it. And thinking that, okay, now he loves me. So that we moved to Port St. Lucie, which is about an hour away. And I forgot my weight and measured meals that day that I had packed. So I just decided that I could eyeball it. I've been doing this long enough. And I kind of did that pretty well for a while, but then I started, um, you know, uh, eating things that are not on the gray sheet, like movie stuff that I am so addicted to. And my youngest daughter, because she moved with me, and she would say, "Mom, why are you doing that? That's not on the gray sheet." And I would say, "Well, I'm just taking the calories from this and subtracting it from what I would normally eat. It's fine." And I did that, and the situation I was living in wasn't what I thought it was going to be. My youngest daughter, she moved out to Denver to go to nursing school, and it was me and my son and his wife, and I lived with him twice, and so it was a real. I know they were using me anyway. I Then I started binging on a protein that we have on the gray sheet, and I would just buy it in these great giant containers, and I couldn't wait to come home just so I could just get everything done and sit in my bed and watch TV and eat those. And I I was 200. I got up to 207 pounds, and I I tried it. Oh, I tried another couple diets too. I've tried every diet. So I tried a carnivore diet and a couple other things, and I gained 19 pounds on the carnivore diet. And so at the end of it all, I decided. Oh, and I tried what do you call it? Fat acceptance or whatever, intuitive eating. I said, well, I'm just going to be a fat person. That's that. Who cares? I'm single and I'll never want to be with another person again, and I really don't. But that just didn't work. And I thought of Gray Sheet, and I remember thinking, I don't want to do that again. Like, it's so bad. And but there was no other option. And so I reached out to Gray Sheet. I sent an email, and I got one back pretty fast. And the person who replied to me said that she would be willing to sponsor me temporarily if I was willing to do a few things that she required of people who relapsed. And she sent it to me. I read it over, and I said yes. She sounded kind of surprised that I said yes. And, I meant that. And from that moment, even though I had quite a bit of weight to lose, I felt free. I can't express it. And I have stayed abstinent. I have done those things that she suggested every single day. Even though I'm sure that I could probably let up on some of them, I don't. I'm way ahead in meetings compared to my abstinence days, and I want to keep it that way. I looked back on the GreyNet to see, like, what was I thinking when I was abstinent before? Like, what happened? And mostly it was I had a focus on weight loss, and I didn't really know that, but I did. And this time, I can tell you honestly, I have not sat around and thought about my weight or how I look. I mean, do I like that I've lost weight? Do I like that I look better? Yes.
1 minute, Mickey. 1 minute.
Thank you. But it just really isn't a part of my brain, because I know that if I'm abstinent and I eat weigh and measure meals from the gray sheet, and work with my sponsor on the things that I eat, I'm going to lose weight, and I have. But this program has given me a new purpose. I can help people without being taken advantage of. I feel like it make a difference. I can help keep this program going. And, I wish I could share it with all the people that I know who need it. I wish I could post it on Facebook, but You know, I know it's attraction rather than promotion, and I just love the connections that I have with people, and I am 100%, well, 96% introverted. But Zoom has changed Gray Sheet to me, for me. It's wonderful. I get to see people's faces that I only saw in emails, you know, and other people too. And so I think that's all I have. Yay, I did it. No matter what.